What's up, Raider Nation? Today we've got a heavy topic to dive into, and honestly, it's one of those conversations that needs to be had no matter how difficult or uncomfortable it might be. We're talking about Henry Ruggs, a former member of the Silver and Black whose name still carries a lot of weight, not just because of his talent on the field, but because of the tragedy that followed. And now the conversation is shifting again, as reports are circulating that Ruggs is eyeing a possible return to the NFL. One former college teammate recently came forward and revealed that Ruggs is staying in shape, staying positive, and holding onto the hope of getting another shot at professional football. So let's unpack that. Let's talk about what it means, how the fan base feels, how the league might respond, and whether the Raiders or any team could ever open that door. Again. Now, before anything else, let me clarify something. Ruggs is still serving time. He's currently in an institution, and his first shot at a conditional release isn't even possible until August 5th, 2026. That's still years away. But even from where he is, the idea of a comeback isn't just fantasy. It's being seriously talked about, not just by fans, but by people in the football world who know him personally, who've seen him work, and who believe he might deserve another chance. And that includes a fellow player who trained with him, grew up beside him in Alabama, and continues to support him. This player spoke openly, saying Ruggs has kept himself in top condition, he's training regularly, and he's kept his mindset in a positive place. When someone's locked away and still choosing to train to stay hopeful, that says something. It shows the level of dedication, sure, but also a desire for redemption. The player even said something that stuck with me. When you get out, bro, will you get a shot? And honestly, that's the big question. Not just will he get a shot, but should he? I've talked to people close to the situation. Individuals who've supported Ruggs, who've stood by him in some capacity. And some of them believe there are franchises, yes, actual NFL franchises, that would be open to offering him a chance, assuming the legal situation allows it. Let that sink in. Because that's not a light topic. Giving someone like Ruggs a second shot in the NFL means confronting everything that happened. The life that was lost, the consequences that followed, and the pain that still lingers. Let's not sugarcoat this. Ruggs was driving 156 miles per hour. He was intoxicated. A young woman named Tina Tintor lost her life that night. Her dog Max died with her in a car engulfed by flames. It's gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking, and it's not something that just gets swept under the rug because someone wants to play football again. And yet here we are, years later, and people are beginning to ask, can redemption exist in this space? Can forgiveness and accountability coexist? One of the things that struck me in all this is the fact that Tina Tintor's family at some point chose to forgive Henry Ruggs. That changes the dynamic. Now I'm not here to play judge or jury. I'm not here to tell anyone how to feel. Personally, I struggle with the idea of supporting someone who made a choice like that, who got behind the wheel under the influence and caused a fatal crash. But if her family, the people most directly affected, can find it in their hearts to forgive him, then who am I to say he doesn't deserve a second chance? Still, I don't believe that second chance has to come in the form of catching passes or scoring touchdowns in the NFL. Surviving this ordeal, learning from it, dedicating your life to doing better, that in itself could be a form of redemption. Now spending the rest of your life in prison? That could be considered a second chance. But the NFL, that's another level. That's a privilege. That's not something owed to anyone, regardless of talent or past success. Some people might hear me say that and assume I'm totally against Ruggs coming back to the league, but it's not that simple. It's a conversation about justice, about remorse, about what we allow in this game and what values we hold as a community. Because the NFL, whether we admit it or not, has always struggled to balance talent with morality. We've seen players return from all kinds of personal controversies, domestic violence, substance abuse, legal troubles, and get another shot because they could run a 40-yard dash faster than the next guy. But this is different. A life was lost. A young woman and her pet were taken from this world because of a reckless decision. And no matter how many touchdowns Ruggs once scored or how explosive he was as a receiver, that tragedy hangs over everything. That's why this conversation isn't about stats or highlights. It's about legacy, about consequence. about what kind of league we want the NFL to be. I give a lot of credit to the player who came forward and spoke on Ruggs. That's not easy. To put your name out there to back someone in a situation like this, it takes guts. And I think it says a lot about the bond they shared, the loyalty that still exists from their college days. Back when they were both at Alabama, grinding every day, growing under the same coaching staff, fighting for the same goals. Those kinds of relationships are deep. They're different from what you get in the pros. In college, you become brothers. And sometimes that brotherhood leads you to stand beside someone even when they've fallen far. But when we talk about whether Ruggs should ever wear an NFL jersey again, I want to be honest with all of you. I don't think it should be with the Raiders. That bridge is gone. That chapter is closed. The organization moved on. And in my opinion, that was the right decision. But I do respect one thing the Raiders did during that time, and it often gets overlooked. A team executive actually went to Tina Tintor's funeral. Think about that. That's a level of empathy and leadership you don't see every day in this league. I'd bet there aren't many owners or executives who would have done the same. Now, look, I'm fully aware that this topic can stir emotions, and I want to make something clear. If you're going to engage with this conversation, do it respectfully. Don't go into the comments lashing out at people. Don't bring negativity for the sake of being loud. This isn't about canceling someone or blindly defending them. It's about grappling with what happened, acknowledging the pain, and asking real questions about justice and growth. Because in all the talk about Henry Ruggs and his future, I feel like we don't say her name enough. Tina Tintor. Let's not forget her. And let's not forget Max. Their lives mattered. This conversation isn't just about Henry Ruggs trying to rebuild. It's also about remembering those who can't. We owe it to them to be thoughtful in how we talk about this. And maybe that's the thing that gets lost sometimes. In the whirlwind of sports media, in the highlight reels and redemption arcs, we forget about the people who didn't make it out. Tina and Max deserve to be remembered, not just as tragic footnotes in Ruggs' story, but as human lives that were full of meaning, love, and potential. So if you're in the comments and you feel compelled to speak your mind, do so with that in your heart. This is bigger than football. So where does that leave us? I still believe in second chances. I do. I believe people can change. That redemption is possible. That forgiveness can lead to healing. But not all second chances have to lead back to the NFL. Sometimes the most powerful comeback is living your life in a way that honors the people you've hurt. Sometimes it's dedicating your energy, your money, your platform to making the world a better place. And maybe that's what Ruggs will do, whether he returns to the field or not. But if Tina's family has truly forgiven him, if they can find peace, then who am I to hold on to the hate? That's the first part of what I wanted to share today. There's more to get into. Updates around the Raiders, new additions, moves in the scouting department, and even potential rising stars joining the squad through international programs. But I had to start with this. It's not just football. It's life. And sometimes we need to pause and talk about the real stuff. So if you're still with me, if you're watching this far in, thank you. You're the kind of fan who doesn't just cheer when we score. You care about the people wearing the jersey. And that, to me, is what makes Raider Nation truly special. Now let's switch gears and get into the latest updates from around the team, because there's actually been quite a bit happening lately, and Raider Nation deserves to stay informed. First off, let's talk about a new addition to the squad that has people buzzing for more than one reason. The Raiders just signed a new player through the NFL's International Pathway program. His name, Lockett Taxi, just 21 years old, coming out of Australia, and previously played rugby at the Ashgrove GPS Rugby Club, which is part of the Queensland Premier Rugby Union. If you've seen footage of this guy moving, especially at his size, you'll understand why the team made this move. He's got that rare blend of size and fluid motion, the kind that makes you double take on tape. Now, I'll be honest, I heard nothing but good things about David Agoa, the previous international program player. The guy was developing well, and some folks thought he might make the roster eventually. But bringing in Taxi tells me the staff saw something special here. It's a bold move, and it shows that this organization is serious about finding talent, wherever it exists. For those of you skeptical about the International Pathway program, just remember Jacob Johnson. He was part of that same initiative, and he ended up being a key contributor as a fullback. You never know where the next breakout is coming from, especially when you're talking about athletes who've been grinding in the rugby world, where toughness and grit are forged on every play. And that's something this team seems to be prioritizing. Resilience. Tough-minded players who bring both physicality and hunger to the field. Taxi fits that mold, so keep your eye on him during camp and preseason. We might just be watching the beginning of a wild underdog story unfold. Moving on, the front office made another notable move by hiring a new assistant general manager, Brian Stark, who used to be the director of college scouting for the Denver Broncos, is now joining the Raiders. This comes after the departure of Champ Kelly, who spent over a decade with Denver and helped shape a lot of their draft strategy. Stark is someone with deep experience in evaluating college talent, and those connections matter. He worked closely with current Raiders staff back in the mid-2010s, so there's already a foundation of trust and familiarity. That's big. In this business, relationships often drive results. And if you've been tracking the Raiders' recent draft performances, you know this front office has shown a keen eye for emerging talent. Adding someone with Stark's track record only strengthens that. But it didn't stop there. The scouting department got another boost with a new assistant coming in who previously worked as a pro scout since 2014. Promotions after the draft aren't uncommon, but the timing here is interesting. It signals a confidence in the evaluation they just completed and a commitment to building out the team behind the scenes. These people might not wear helmets on Sunday, but they're critical to everything that happens on the field. Also worth mentioning, the team brought in a running back for a workout recently, the second one invited to camp in the last few weeks. The newest addition is an FCS standout who came in third place for the Walter Payton Award, which is basically the Heisman Trophy of the FCS level. For context, the player who won that award is also on the Raiders' radar, as is the runner-up. That means we're talking about three of the absolute best small school offensive players in the country, and all three could end up in silver and black. One of them, a running back with a compact frame, just 5'5" and around 198 pounds is like a human wrecking ball. Think of a lighter version of Rebel Montana slashing through defenders. Last season alone, he had 340 carries, nearly 2,000 rushing yards, and 18 touchdowns. That's serious production. And when you look at his full career, it's over 4,000 yards and 50 total touchdowns. For a team like ours, which is actively looking for power runners who can survive contact and churn out tough yards, this is the exact kind of prospect that fits the vision. The Raiders also added a wide receiver, Colin Johnson, a player I've followed since his college days at Texas. He's tall, maybe the tallest wideout in the league, standing 6'6" and weighing in at about 222 pounds. He hasn't made a major impact in the NFL yet, but his athletic build and leadership background, he was a captain at Texas, make him an interesting depth piece. What stands out with these recent acquisitions, whether it's Johnson, Taxi, or the running backs, is that the team clearly values players with strong character, toughness, and the kind of profiles that might have been overlooked elsewhere. That's the blueprint right now. High motor, high integrity, under the radar guys with something to prove. So to everyone who stuck through the heavier first part of the video and made it here, thank you. These updates matter just as much. Because while the conversation around Henry Ruggs brings weight and reflection, the rest of the team is still building, still grinding, still aiming to bring greatness back to the silver and black. And as always, I'll be here bringing every update, every move, every bit of energy to this channel. Because Raider Nation deserves nothing less. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders, and don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a shocking move that has sent tremors through the NFL, star linebacker TJ Watt is leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers to join the Las Vegas Raiders in a blockbuster deal that's already being called one of the most impactful transactions of the offseason. After years of anchoring one of the league's most feared defenses in Pittsburgh, Watt has opted for a new challenge in the desert, where he'll bring his relentless motor and game-changing ability to a Raiders squad hungry for a return to prominence. The move ends a storied chapter in Watt's career with the Steelers, a team that drafted him in 2017 and watched him grow into a Defensive Player of the Year and perennial All-Pro. His departure would leave a massive void in Pittsburgh's front seven, and the franchise now faces the daunting task of rebuilding a defense that so often revolved around his disruptive presence. For the Raiders, this is more than just a marquee signing, it's a statement. Watt's arrival instantly upgrades their pass rush, pairing him with emerging star Max Crosby to form one of the most formidable defensive duos in the league. With head coach Antonio Pierce emphasizing toughness and attitude in his rebuild of the franchise, Watt seems like a perfect cultural and on-field fit for a team desperate to recapture the grit and glory of its past. Financial details of the deal have yet to be fully disclosed, but early reports suggest the Raiders made a massive investment to secure Watt's signature. It's a bold gamble by the organization, but one that could pay off in a big way if Watt stays healthy and continues to perform at his elite level. Fans in Pittsburgh are reeling from the news, while the Raider Nation is celebrating the arrival of a true defensive cornerstone. With the AFC West becoming more competitive by the year, Las Vegas may have just landed the piece that tips the balance. One thing is certain, the TJ Watt era in silver and black is set to begin with fireworks. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.